J Jinx!
Truck stop!
This is JJ Jinx, and I have returned. Went on a road trip, and for a change, it was pure leisure. I usually mix business with my vacationing, travel somewhere for a conference, stick around, explore the area. This time, it was just for fun. And it was a great time. Some of the highlights: I saw some local bluegrass music. And those Appalachian folks are so friendly. They'll just sit down and drink right there with you. And there was an awesome cat at this barbecue place named Handsome. Now for this trip, I mentioned in a video before I left that I would be carrying and using this knife from M-Tech that I bought at a Tractor Supply company to accompany me along the way. And I ended up not doing that because the other knives I picked up at that Tractor Supply company, if you saw that video, were a few case knives. So I started carrying the mini trapper that had the white scales, and I actually really liked it. Pleasantly surprised. Just shrinking the size of the knife made it a lot more pleasant than I expected. So much so that I forewent the M-Tech monstrosity, and I went with carrying a mini trapper with me on my road trip. And as I was packing up to leave, I realized I couldn't find it. So I told my buddy, somewhere in your home is a Case Mini Trapper pocket knife, and if you find it, it is yours. But I have this other one that I purchased, so I can still carry and use a mini trapper. And because I liked it so much when I was carrying it, it kind of makes me wonder if maybe I shouldn't give the full-sized trapper another chance. Ooh, got some goo on that one. Yeah, maybe my misgivings about this knife is from a much older attitude that needs to be updated with a little bit of experience of actually carrying and using one again. I've done it before. So I'm considering giving it another go, but this video isn't about the knives that I carried with me. This video is about the knives that I picked up along the way. The first of which is this one, Ozark Trail, now packaging their knives in proper boxes. For a change, they've just released a number of models. I've been seeing them making their rounds on social media. Somewhat higher quality than what we're used to. So this knife was quite a bit more than their low-level models, the ones that famously started at the $3.87 price point. Now you see them for $6, $7, $8 or more. This one, I believe, was $25 or $35. I can't remember. But I wanted to keep the box just to show you that the presentation is now this. They've made some that had axis locks, some that have button locks, markedly improved quality, fit, finish across the board. I'm really happy. I'm pleased as hell to see the Ozark Trail knives coming up to this level. As someone who's been collecting them for over a decade at this point, well over a decade, it's nice to see that they're finally kind of pushing into that upper echelon from crap to okay. And I love the coloration. You got the olive drab green, which really brings out the orange color of the logo. The packaging is a bit strange. There's this cardboard holder thing on the inside, and other than that, it just kind of comes out loosely. But yes, I did spot this. It was the last one in the display case. I happened to get the attention of an associate, which is extremely hard to do. There were a couple of knives I did not buy at some other Walmarts because I just couldn't find anybody to sell it to me. And it happened to be, of the newer ones that have come out, the one that I really wanted. The Button Lock OD Green G10 micarta. It's one of those. It looks more G10 than micarta. Let's see what it says. 12C27 blade. G10. Okay, so it's G10 OD Green handle with a clip point blade. Not something you see too often. And it's a stone washed finish. And the button lock on this thing with the pivot, it's just fantastic. I mean, you just saw the thing just drops right shut. Every once in a while you get the timing wrong and the blade wants to flick back open, and that's just because the pivot is so smooth. And the haptics are fantastic. Listen to this. Now that click you hear when I push the button in, it doesn't do that when you very slowly open the knife. Then it's just squishy like that. So is that some kind of lock stick? Button lock stick? Is that a thing? Is it bad? I don't know. I like the sound it makes, though, so I guess as long as it works. So since I picked this up on day one of the road trip, heading out of town, stopped at a Walmart to get some road trip supplies, and spotted this, picked it up, immediately impressed. I was like, oh my gosh, everybody's right. These knives are now fantastic. It's great. I love it. I haven't used it enough to really comment on the quality of the blade steel, but it did come pretty well ground. Nice and consistent. I can do the paper thing if you want to. Here's some paper. It just glides right through it. Of course, then that happens. Wow. Look at that. There's no raised edges on that or anything. I feel like I need to find one for comparison. Let's try this M-Tech thing I've never actually cut anything with yet. Well, that got better towards the tip, but you can see the little bit of a raised edge, especially up here, that little fold over. You don't see that at all. That's a pretty good sign that they're doing something right. And that's all I can really get out of those paper tests is they did not do something wrong. Don't put too much credence into that paper thing. People don't usually do it right anyway. I am digressing. We have steel liners with weight reduction on the inside, a kind of burnt orange accent spacer lanyard hole combo piece back here. I like these kind of off-color accent pieces. It would be nice if they did that to the rest of the hardware, but they didn't, but that's okay. Reversible pocket clip, tip up, carry only, and fully recessed. Well, except for that screw that's sticking out a little bit. That was the only thing that I could find fit and finish-wise that wasn't really, really good on this knife, is that screw just doesn't want to go down beyond that point. So not sure why. I guess the drilling didn't work out very well for that hole. And that's pretty much it. I mean, the centering's spot on with, using a button lock instead of a liner lock. That's a little bit easier to engineer in, and like when it's a liner lock and it moves to the side a little bit when it closes, that's just the tension from the spring kind of pushing on it a little bit. You don't have that with a knife like this, so getting it centered and keeping it there is easier. It's riding on pivots. It's riding on bearings, and it does have a little bit of a grindy, just a touch of a resistance to it when you feel it. It's hard to explain. It's like you can feel the balls kind of rolling a little bit, so you could probably use a touch of grease if you don't like that, or if you plan to use this knife to the point where the bearings will wear. Problem with adding grease to bearings is that then they get gunky, and that's one of the reasons why a lot of people don't like them. Say what you will about washer spacers, that doesn't happen so readily with those. There is a subtle contouring around the handle. You can see just after the chamfer, it does bulge slightly, conforming better to the hand. This knife is pretty comfortable. I can feel the pocket clip when I grip it, but there are no hot spots because the chamfering is completely done all the way around and on the clip as well. Very happy with this purchase. The other newer boxed ones, with the Axis locks and some other stuff like that, if I see them, I'll get them. They also, by the way, I've come up with a couple of updated versions of the orange guy. I showed you before that they did make a spot for reversing the pocket clip not very long after this actually came out and was on the market for, a little while. And now they make them where they've got one with like an olive drab green colored handle and a black coated blade just like this one, and then they've got one with a black handle and a satin, possibly stone washed blade, but I don't have them because I didn't spot them. I didn't look too hard though. This is the Gen 1 version, and one of the things I like about it are that the scales are two different colors. Probably not on purpose. I remember seeing that a lot in the Reddit posts, like, my knife came with two different colored scales. The quality control is terrible. But I'd say that just gives it a personal touch. Like, what happened? When they mixed the pigments or whatever into the plastic, did they just, like, screw it up for that batch? Or was this, like, molded during a transition from one color to another? I don't know, but I'm hoping it's something like that, which means it's not complete. That is staying in. Do you see the sacrifices I make for my art? I'm digressing again. Thank you for returning my attention to the subject matter, girlfriend. So I got some other Ozark Trail knives to show you. That many. I go into the store and I just pick out everything that I don't think that I have at home. And sometimes I get duplicates or triplicates because I have so many of these I forget. But anyway, these are new to me. We're starting off with a 7.5-inch folding knife. What year did you come out? 2024. So yeah, a lot of these are not super new to the scene, but they are new to me. One of the interesting things that I just noticed, I didn't really look up close, is that this Tanto blade is not a blade. That's actually a part of the cardboard. You can see it shine the light off there like that, reflecting it. And it's like that here too. They don't have any plastic on this. Usually, like this one, it's got the, clamshell style plastic with half the handle hanging out. It always bugged me a little bit when they switched to this kind of packaging, because there are some knives where like the handle had nicks and stuff in it from people handling it while it's still in the package. Well, I guess this uses less plastic, but the handle is still exposed, but not the blade. That's kind of interesting. They show a guide for cutting this thing with scissors that goes up the spine of the blade and then a little bit down here. So I'm kind of curious, like what does cutting that part do? That just yeah, because there's no plastic to like rip into. So I guess I don't know. Let's just try it and see what happens. I've got my Heritage brand Model 208B shears. Very expensive shears that I didn't pay for. So, right. Now that makes sense. They don't have the cardboard connecting through the actual knife handle, so you cut that bit, and then you're just left with this floppy piece. So making a small cut here, I'm guessing should release everything. And there it is. Huh. I'm really glad I did that, actually. I never would have known that that's how it works. That's fun. I guess you could say it kind of comes with a sheath, although now I've ruined it. Huh. Interesting packaging, Ozark Trail. I like it. So, here is the knife. My first time kind of holding it and giving it a nice gander. It is a liner locked knife. Very nice pivot action. No blade play. The centering is a little bit off. That could be the liner lock though. And since there's no blade play, I'm guessing that's what that is, and that's fine. This is hard to tell what kind of spacer. It looks like Teflon or nylon, but it feels like bearings. Or it could just be very, very tightly fastened against those bearings. And we have a choil here. I really like how much that liner lock sticks out from that choil. They did a really good job with that, because I both love and hate it when they do that at the same time. I love it because it makes the lock so easy to access. Yeah, that's bearings. But I've also seen examples where having this part kind of stick out creates a very, very tough hot spot to get over, especially if there's like jimping involved. But this is just a smooth piece of steel that is also curved, and I think that's what really makes it work. Is it's comfortable and accessible. It's good. It's good. Well designed. These days, I'm not huge into Tanto blades. I used to like them a lot, but as my tastes matured, they kind of fell more and more out of favor with me. But this knife, I can just tell by holding it. I think I would really, really like it. Probably prefer a drop point or clip point or something like that. Sheep's foot. I don't know what it is. Tanto's like having that obtuse angle with the corner of the blade right here. That makes cutting into like boxes and stuff a lot easier. Like if you need to slice through the tape, And that's about it. There's I like having the straight edge. I don't know. It's just something about it. Maybe it's just the look. Maybe I'm being overly critical of it. The handle, which is plastic and green, has a little bit of knurling type pattern in the center there, with some interesting molded accent line things. You do get a lanyard hole. And does this thing even have liners? Yes, it does, but they are recessed, which is great. That is a feature I always like. Let's have a look at the pocket clip. It looks like it should work pretty well. Yep, it's a little bit low on the tension side, to be honest. But I've had pocket clips that have this kind of swoop up, over, and then down, and then back out. That sort of configuration, I know that works very well going in and out of the pocket, and I don't mind that it's not a deep ride clip. And the lockup, should also probably glance at that. That looks fine. Starting out strong with the OD Green knives. Next up, now I picked these up from multiple Walmarts as I was going. We have this knife, which is also copyright 2024, and I just realized that I somehow bought two of them. So that's what happens. I go into the Walmart, I'm like, I don't have that one. Cha-ching! I don't have that one. Yeah, I bought them knife's so nice, I bought it 2 times. So I'll just open one of them. Let's try out this folding Tanto blade. Well, that cut pretty well. The grind is very consistent. There's a little bit of a rough area here, but it's not anywhere nearly as bad as I've seen. And I can already kind of tell there's one major advantage that the plastic packaging has over however this was packaged, the less plasticky version, and that is that the green knife did not include bink. No bink on that one. Well, it's a stouter knife than this one. You can see this one it towers over the black one. The handle feels a little bit rubbery, which is good. You got these the weight reduction kind of vent looking lines, which is interesting. I'm really digging the texture in these portions of the scales. It sort of looks, it reminds me of like stone, or maybe like roof tiles. What do you call those things? Shingles. Yeah, that's interesting. It reminds me of the kind of pattern you'd see in one of the generations of the Smith and Wesson SWAT knives. Yeah, kind of similar to that going on. And kind of like the Smith & Wesson SWAT knife. It's also partially serrated. But this video is not about this. The lockup is pretty good. The action felt good. I'm not sure what they're riding on yet. It looks like I see shiny in there, so probably bearings. Not assisted opened. There's a pretty decent detent. Centering is fine. And we got a flipper tab. So that's satisfying. I mean, these Ozark trail knives, I'd say over the past 4 years or so, the quality has immensely gone up. I don't remember what I paid for this thing, though. I just kind of grabbed the knives on my way out these days. But I want to say it was like $7 or $8. Pretty consistent on the non-serrated part of the blade. No play. Pocket clip is deep ride, but yeah, that's the kind I'm going to have trouble getting into my pocket. More than likely. It's just, it's got quite a lot of tension on it. I would say that's probably about the maximum tension that I prefer on my pocket clips. So I can move it still. But that might be hard to catch on the denim, you know what I mean? To get it to slide on in there. And it's totally blacked out. Some people like that look a lot. I don't care for it myself, but it works with this one. The scales are just, there's a lot of character. Your pivot screw is completely covered up by the clip, which is not reversible and tip down only. I don't like that. I like to be able to access the pivot screw just in case there is a little bit of play that develops or the centering goes way off. I can make adjustments. I don't Loctite them, but I do like the option to adjust them. But other than that, I don't see too many flaws with this knife. I already threw the packaging away, so don't know the steel, don't know the dimensions, don't care. It's not good steel. It's Ozark Trail. It ain't. I think the best steel I've seen coming from them is like D2. Or I guess I shouldn't say the best. I should say what's generally regarded as better than the 8CR series. And now I'm just getting into opinions, so I'll leave it at that. A rather handsome looking knife, actually. If it weren't for the serrations, I probably really, really like this knife. And one of the things that I kind of think about when I'm opening and handling these Ozark Trail knives is you're always going to get those people on Reddit that are like, oh, that knife is crap. It's Walmart Chinese garbage. And then the same people will praise Chinese garbage if it has a different branding on it. So I try to think about, like, this kind of looks like something Gerber might put out. This kind of looks like something, I don't know. It's just something I think about sometimes. Like, if this had any other branding on it, would it get the flack that it does? Maybe Benchmade. If Benchmade made that. Well, let's move on to the next one. The last of these are a bunch of fixed blade knives. This one is also from 2024, and it's using that all cardboard packaging again. And this time it comes with a sheath, which is just kind of hanging out here really loose like. So if I make the cuts like I am instructed to by the packaging, I know the knife comes loose. But what about the sheath? I gotta go a little bit beyond the dotted line. There we go. And this time the dotted line continues in line with the other dotted line. And one difference is that you have this gap down here at the bottom where the cardboard folds over. That's interesting. So, okay, I'm just going to cut it. It's telling me to cut it this way. I'm doing it. And there it is. Interesting stuff. And the knife just slips right out. Ooh, that is interesting. Another Tanto. Now the clip is just kind of still in here. I'm going to see if I can... I don't think I have a way to remove it without cutting the cardboard. So, no guidelines for how to do that. I got a feeling that the clip is actually assembled along with the packaging, like they sort of do it that way. Because I can't see how else you'd be able to get this in and out. So, that's fine. I'm just going to have to figure it out. Oh, okay. Had to use my mitts on that one. Well, this knife is kind of cool. I dig that. What would that be? Like dinosaur skin look? Kind of a fake alligator, leathery kind of look. Very, very rubbery scales. That I dig. I do. I like that. That feels really, really good, actually. The way the contours fit the fingers. It's a real simple design, and it works so well, especially there's chamfering or rounding there where the fingers go. It is full tang construction with kind of a crimson colored accent color to the screws, the star screws that hold this thing together. So if that's all that's holding the scales in, it looks like a simple enough construction. You could probably put custom scales on this thing if you really wanted to. We have a Tanto blade that also has a swedge. So that's a little different. The grind is a little rougher feeling, which doesn't really mean much, but it feels very consistent. That's the key. And the sheath is pretty simple. It's got this thing to slip it down over your belt or whatever, and it's got a jimped platform so you can push it off when you retrieve the knife. A little bit of rattle. It's pretty handle heavy, that's why. But it feels secure. It could be better. It's not in there too tightly. And you got the Ozark Trail logo molded directly in, just right there, with a couple of slots so that gunk may get in there and mess up your blade. Again, not a big Tanto guy these days, but everything else about this knife I like. There's a little bit of issue with the molding on the back here, but it's so rubberized that I kind of feel like that shouldn't be too difficult to, get rid of. Probably just tear it out. But I'm going to leave it there. And I kind of wonder if that was there from the factory molding, or if the fact that the handle was exposed in the packaging caused it to kind of get nicked by something else. I applaud the minimalistic design, saves materials, energy, costs, etc. But then shit like that can happen, Let's go to the next one. Very similar packaging. Also 2024. And it is another fixed blade knife, this time with a blue handle and a different type of blade geometry. Let's dive in. I'm going to follow the instructions again. There we go. That's actually really easy and convenient. I'm a fan. That was easier too. I figured it out. And here we have a little bit more damage as well. Again, that was pre-existing. I just took it out of the package and yeah, some gouges. That's not from the factory molding. Those gouges, that's damage. So my concerns are valid there. If I would looked closely at the time, I probably would have picked out a different one that didn't have that damage. But I was kind of in a hurry, and I don't really care. But I'm glad that happened, so I can show you that is a real concern, Ozark Trail. Reconsider how you do the packaging a little bit. There's also a bunch of white specks and stuff on here. I don't know what the heck that is. Anyway, so this knife is it's a little bit lighter than the dinosaur skin knife. There's a little bit of subtle jimping way up here where your thumb can rest. And the bottom of the handle curves inward, which I don't like because it's kind of squishing my fingers, and that's not comfortable at all. I could have my pinky down underneath like that. That's not comfortable either. This knife is for people with hands that are not fat sausages like mine. But you got your full tang construction, black coated steel with a lanyard hole. I don't care for the blade shape. It's a drop point blade, but it's also very recurved. I am not good at sharpening recurved blades, and that's why. I could get better if I practiced and tried more, but it just drives me a little nuts, and I don't need the recurve there. I know it makes cutting things a little easier because you get the, leverage. That's the word I'm looking for. But I do like the colors. It's just a simple flat blue. And then the hardware is not coated with anything. It's just steel. But because you've got this blue colored with the black, it sticks out. And I think it looks kind of nice. And then you have these wavy guidelines. I don't know what these are. The lines and the rubbery material. It does add grip. This is a rubbery feeling handle as well. So, little uncomfortable. Very uncomfortable for me. And the sheath, it's about the same. It's probably going to be a little rattly. Thumb ramp thing. About the same amount of tension as the other one, and you get the two slots there as well. One more. Tanto again. There's a good chance I already own this knife. Probably down in my basement. I just realized I actually do own one of these already. So I'm going to keep this one in the packaging. But I don't think I'm going to have very much to say about this one that I haven't said about the others. The handle is very rubbery, and then the gray accent pieces are hard plastic. That's what kind of made me remember it. It's this use of compound materials. I don't know if it's full tang, actually, because you can't see the tang, which means it's probably not. Because if it was, it would probably say so somewhere like it did on the other ones. 3.66-inch stainless steel blade injection sheath. Injection sheath? This is an injection sheath. Okay. Yeah, I'm just gonna leave that one in the packaging. Well, I just realized I'm coming up at about 40 minutes into this video. Of course, we had a couple of distractions. But I'm going to cut it here and then start recording a new one for editing purposes, and I might break this up. So, stay tuned for the next one, which I should upload shortly. This has been JJ Jakes. Truck Stop Knives.